Hello, so my name is Daniel Bulirello Wondrich, which is why I shorten it to BW. This is my social media analysis, and I did it on the M&M's social media. So the background of M&M's is that the idea came from the Spanish Civil War. Uh, so basically, the son of the founder of Mars Bars, I believe it's the son, he's definitely a relative. He began manufacturing bars for troops. While he was doing that, he encountered British volunteers eating small chocolate beads encased in a hard sugar shell, which prevented them from melting. Uh, I found that interesting because they came from a very practical place. Uh, they, the company M&M's Limited, so the M&M brand is established, and the candies are first presented to America in 1941. In 1980s, they became the first candy to go to space, um, uh, which is a big deal, of course, and it was big, got them a lot of good press, kind of solidified them as America's candy at the time. So, to coincide with that, 4 years later, they were one of the biggest sponsors in the Olympics, and this helped them because similar to the way they became America's candy, they were suddenly the world's candy when it came to the Olympics. So after that, it really helped their brand spread out and go global. So their mission statement is together we're using the power of fun to create a world where everyone feels like they belong. So their focus is a lot on equality. Seeing a slide later here that they're very socially aware. Um, but they've been facing a lot of controversy for a bit now, especially before the Super Bowl. So on their page where they list their mission, they have a lot about the recent controversy, and they say they believe in the power to bring people together. They feel like the conversation got maybe a bit too lively. Uh, Basically, yeah, and we'll go into this again on the next slide, but a lot of controversy around their spokes candies, which we see on the top right. And they wanted to redirect the passion of that conversation to bring fun back into it, and they're basically retying this back to their mission statement here at the top. Uh, and yeah, they want to get people to move on from the controversy. They embraced it though, but they want to move on, and they want to tie it all back to their original statement, where they want to create a world where everyone feels like they belong. So, how do they do that? Well, I guess first we're going to go over just their stats here. So their account has a total of 23K total tweets, which I found interesting because over the period of time I studied, which was December 25th of 2022 to February 15th, 2023, they only posted, 17 tweets. So mainly where their volume of tweets comes from is replies. So they post very inconsistently, like definitely a higher volume around holidays or other notable events. They reply a lot to consumers, which again is where the majority of their tweets are actually coming from, which is why over like that, you know, 1.5, close to 2 month period, they only had like 17 just tweets, and the rest were all replies. So yeah, and then they keep it very lighthearted and focus on positivity. So the other thing I studied was their Facebook. So they post a similar style to Twitter. Most of the posts actually are exactly the same, if not all of them. But they post more on Facebook actually, but without the replies. So they offer details more about products, which you can see on the side here. They tweeted out a Valentine's Day recipe. Uh, so yeah, they do a lot like that. But for the most part, it's shared across both platforms. So I forgot to show it on Twitter, so we'll go back. But on Facebook, they have 10 million likes, almost 13 million followers. So that's quite a lot. But as you can see here, they on their posts are getting about 364 like reactions, 30 comments, 40 replies. I don't know how to go back on this keyboard, so we're doing it like this. So yeah, as you can see here, compared to Facebook, they on Twitter only have 223K followers. So yeah, big difference there. They're following 22 people only, so it's not coming from spamming followers. And also, as you can see here, this is a post from their Twitter. They posted for Kwanzaa. So again, they increased posting around holidays. And also, as you can see here, a reply on the right to someone saying, well, not everyone, and then kind of like a sly emoji. So again, like that lighthearted, positive tone with a lot of replies to consumers. So their strategies. Their biggest thing is social awareness. They are humorous when they reply to tweets. They understand who their audience is. They are willing to confront controversy around their brand, and they are aware of the controversy. And a great example of this, of course, is the Super Bowl ad campaign. So here this is an art from NPR News article basically summarizing what led up to the Super Bowl ad. The cartoon versions of the candies that appear in advertisements were paused indefinitely, and this was announced about 2 weeks before the Super Bowl by M&M's. And the move came after Fox News, it wasn't just Fox News, it was other places too. But Tucker Carlson, which is one of the Fox News anchors, or he hosts a show on Fox News, spent months attacking the brand, calling it woke changes. So M&M's kind of gave into it and said that, or at least they showed that they gave into it, that they were going to get rid of the candies altogether. They were kind of tired of this, and that Maya Rudolph would just be their spokesperson, and they'd do away with the candies. So they kept up the idea that they caved to pressure only until the Super Bowl. And obviously this whole thing garnered them a ton of attention because it's very rare that a social media or just a company in general will give in kind of to that, like, especially right-wing pressure. So yeah, so basically it got them a lot of attention. People are like, oh, like, go woke, go broke, stuff like that. But so basically though, that got them a lot of attention, which they capitalized on the Super Bowl with a series of 3 ads. So yeah, that demonstrated a great awareness of the controversy around their brand, and they dealt with it very successfully, and they actually utilized it to go back to like their mission statement basically. And as you can see, they also show other social awareness with things like in the bottom left here, they are celebrating women across the country. Basically, it's like, it's pro-feminism, it's pro-helping women, it's socially aware. And also, another type of social awareness, I guess, is the obsession with their candies maintaining some sex appeal. So we can see the key lime pie candy, and this is currently on their website, still looking very saucy. So their other strategy is open engagement. So they engage with not only fans but other brand accounts, and they do this with a lighthearted tone. They make fans feel heard, and they did a really good job with that during the Super Bowl ad, when they basically tricked people into thinking that they had succeeded, which you can see on the right here with this second tweet. someone realized what the old saying, go woke, go broke means. So a lot of people felt like their complaints had been heard and the company was feeling the impact of what they were saying. So another example of their engagement, of their lighthearted tone, is on the bottom left here with that tweet, that reply. And again, in the top right, and they're not trying to sound professional or anything. They are for like 2 weeks. You know, they use like there. They're not being formal at all. So yeah, and in the bottom left here, you can see their message. Basically, let's talk. We heard you. We're taking a pause from our spokes candies, even if they just use that to gain attention. So strengths and weaknesses, they have a very consistent tone, they have good engagement with users, and they're very socially aware of their brand perception. Well, I misspoke there. They're socially aware and they're aware of their brand's perception, which sometimes tie together. So those are their strengths. Their weaknesses, I feel like have a lack of overall tweets, like not just replies, like just overall tweets. They have a lot of followers on Facebook, but it doesn't necessarily mean their posts are getting shared a lot. It didn't look like that. And they don't have a lot of followers on Twitter compared to Facebook or either other just brands on Twitter. So my recommendations would be to increase the amount of posts. This could get their follower account up on Twitter potentially. Also, just would get more engagement. They don't need to spam, but they could just increase it. They could just post their Facebook content, like the recipe links, on Twitter. I don't see why they don't, because it also just draws people to their website. And yeah, so I think, and they should try to just increase the level of Facebook user engagement, because they have the followers, but they're not getting the same amount of engagement that they get on Twitter. So they're already doing some things very well. They should keep the social awareness going, and they really did show the ability to handle criticism, use it for publicity, and to reinforce what message they originally had. And here are the sources. Thank you for listening to my presentation.